Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to BYD. As you may be aware, BYD stands for Build Your Dreams. The company operates mainly in 4 industries. We have electronics, automobile, new energy, and here by new energy I'm referring to renewable energy. This is the way it is referred to in China. New energy is the combination of products for renewable energy production and storage. And finally, we have the rail transit industry when we introduced our BYD Skyrail. Now, BYD has expanded very quickly since its inception. I mean, we have 33 manufacturing sites and 27 branches around the world. Of the 33 manufacturing sites, 6 of these are outside of China, beginning with Lancaster, California, where we have a plant for the production of pure electric buses, solar modules, and energy storage. We have a similar plant in Brazil, in the state of São Paulo. We also have 2 pure electric bus plants in Europe, one in France, in Beauvais, and another one in Hungary, in a city called Comoron. We also have another pure electric bus plant in India, in Chennai. In Japan, we have another production plant, but this one is for the production of car molding. Now, the growth of BYD is something that is exponential and pretty amazing. We started out in 1995. At the time, we had an initial investment of $300,000 and 20 employees in its staff. Now, if we fast forward that to 2016, we closed that year with just over 220,000 employees and a turnover of just over 15 billion US dollars. Now, since we started implementing and commercializing our sustainable development solutions with electric transportation and new energy systems, we have managed to amass savings of over 348,000 tons of carbon dioxide. That would be equivalent to planting over 29 million trees. Now, such stance in sustainable development has brought BYD broad recognition. We have been recognized by the United Nations. We got a special recognition award. We have featured in Bloomberg's top 10 most innovative companies. Also, the Zayed Future Energy Prize, which is, I don't know if you are familiar with the Zayed Foundation, it's a United Arab Emirates foundation that fosters the production and development of new sources of energy. BYD was awarded twice. Our chairman and president got the Lifetime Achievement Award for his work in sustainability, and the company itself got the Large Corporation Award in early 2016. We also featured in Fortune magazine's top 51 companies changing the world, as well as Business Week's Stars of Asia. Now, BYD occupies a series of leadership positions globally. Yeah, we have a market share of 13% global for new energy vehicles. In the year 2016, we sold 115,000 units of EVs, being just over 100,000 passenger vehicles and just under 15,000 commercial vehicles. We also have 23.3% global market share for energy storage. Yeah, another big achievement is our iron phosphate battery output capacity. Yeah, we currently have 16 gigawatt-hour year production capacity, and we are scaling that up in another 12 gigawatt-hour year. So we will very soon be capable of producing 28 gigawatt-hour year in energy storage. with our proprietary iron phosphate battery. Patents. Contrary to the general perception that China is a producer of copycats, BYD is effectively producing technology. That is, we have over 12,000 patents authorized. So that is a pretty interesting number when it comes to R&D and technology production. Now, last year we had Mr. Leonardo DiCaprio joining us in our efforts to promote new energy vehicles for the Chinese market. The choice of Mr. DiCaprio is not just because he's a pretty Hollywood face, but also because he has a very strong stance in terms of sustainable development and the fight against global warming. These are pretty much aligned with the company's positioning with these issues as well. And here, in a nutshell, we have what we call our zero-emission energy ecosystem. That is basically going from the production of renewable energy to the storage of this energy and then the usage of this energy. Here we can see that we have the solar modules that we produce. The energy produced by these solar modules is stored in our energy storage systems, and then it is used mainly with transportation, with our broad range of electric vehicles, and now also the BYD Skyrail. This is pretty much for this presentation. I would like to invite you to have a look at our milestones and a little bit of our BYD history. As I mentioned, the company started out in 1995. At that time, we started with an initial investment of $300,000 and only 20 employees in our staff. We were operating in a rented warehouse in the area of Buji here in Shenzhen, and we produced nickel batteries for the consumer electronics industry. But we quickly expanded our production into lithium-ion batteries, also for the electronics industry, when in 2002 we had our first big break into the international market when we closed a deal with Motorola to supply them with lithium-ion batteries to accommodate into the design of what was then the Motorola Razr cell phone. This model of cell phone was the best-selling model ever, and BYD managed to come up with a battery that was thin enough and dense enough to accommodate the sleek design of that particular phone. Now, it was very successful for us because it was the first time a Chinese company was commercializing batteries outside of China, and also Motorola's case was such a success that all the big players in the IT and electronics industry became BYD's clients, mainly or initially with batteries, but now BYD also provide EMS services with ODM and OEM. So basically we do the whole electronic devices. Now 2003, very important year for BYD as well, because it was the year that the company entered the automobile industry with the acquisition of a small state-owned company situated in Xi'an. At this moment, it's fair to say that the company was looking into electrifying transportation, that is, combining its energy storage technologies with automobiles. But we didn't go straight into that. The idea was first to learn how to deal with the automobile market. I mean, a company that was mainly in electronics had to somehow learn how to make a car and how to market a car. So initially, we just dealt in internal combustion vehicles. And in 2005, we launched our first independently branded model, the BYD F3. This vehicle came at a very interesting moment for China because the automobile market was booming. I mean, Chinese consumers suddenly found themselves able to buy their first vehicles. And BYD came up with the F3 at a very reasonable price, very good quality, very reliable and very safe. It didn't take us much long to reach the mark of 1 million units of this vehicle sold in China alone. Now, another very important year was 2008. Two major events took place this year. The first one was the sort of a conversion or the development of what we call the F3 DM. It is a version of the F3 that had been launched in 2005, but the DM stands for dual mode. That is, I mean, people nowadays can call it hybrid, but we call it dual mode because you have the option of either driving the vehicle in hybrid mode or in pure electric mode. Now, another very interesting thing about this launch was that it was the first plug-in vehicle, plug-in EV ever produced. So basically, we launched the concept of the plug-in. Same year, we had a very important investment from American investor Warren Buffett. He heard about what BYD was doing and its promising technologies, and he decided to make an investment in the company to acquire a stake of nearly 10% of the company's stock. At the time, he made an investment of $234 million for his stake. Now, just making a comparison so that you can see the evolution of the company's stock. Last year, 2016, Korea's Samsung Group made a similar investment to acquire 1.9% of the company's stock, but they had to shell out $400 million. So you can see from these two distinct investments how the company's stock evolved. Now, 2009 is another important year. It's very discreet here, but it's an important year because it was the year that BYD acquired a bus company in the province of Hunan. And at this point, you can say that the company started signaling its strategy to electrify or to prioritize the electrification of mass transit, of public transportation, before paying too much attention to the consumer market. There are two main reasons for that. The first one is that if you electrify public transportation, you are bringing electrification to a much larger number of people. And the second one is the smartest, I would say, which is the idea that that by electrifying the public transportation fleets, which are usually 2% of the total number of vehicles in a given city, you will have 1/3 cuts in carbon emissions. That's true. I mean, only 2% of the total vehicles in a city are responsible, the ones that are used for public transportation, are responsible for 1/3 of total emissions. So the impact of electrification is much greater if you first go for public transportation, and that was the strategy of that was BYD's strategy at that time. 2010, we formed a joint venture with Germany's Daimler AG for the production of a pure electric high-end vehicle for the Chinese market. Yeah, this vehicle was launched in 2014 and it's called Denza. Currently, Denza is also the name of this company, of BYD plus Daimler. Also 2010, we had a very important event of launching the two most important products of our electrified public transportation platform. They are the pure electric bus K9 and the pure electric taxi E6. Yeah, these two form the foundation of our electrified public transportation that currently is present in over 200 cities worldwide. 2011, before that, it's worth mentioning that the same year that these two products were launched, the city of Shenzhen acquired two fleets, one of buses and one of taxis, and it was the first city in the world to embrace electrified public transportation. Shenzhen acquired a fleet of 200 buses and 300 taxis at the time by 2010, 2011, and currently Shenzhen still is the city with the largest electrified public transportation fleet, with just over 13,000 pure electric buses and around 8,000 pure electric taxis. Now, 2014, we can see a sort of a reshifting of the company's strategy towards the consumer market with the launch of the 542 initiative. The 542 initiative was first applied to the second vehicle we launched in the Dynasty series. The Dynasty series is a series of passenger vehicles that the company launched in 2013, and they consist of vehicles that bears the names and characters of famous Chinese dynasties. Not exactly famous, I mean particularly innovative, technologically successful and prosperous dynasties. The first one was the BYD Qin, and the second was the SUV Tang. The SUV Tang was the first one to feature the 542 initiative. What is the 542 initiative? It is an initiative for safety, performance and fuel efficiency, in which the 5 stands for an acceleration from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in less than 5 seconds. The 4 stands for a permanent 4-wheel electric drive, and the 2, in my perception, the most interesting, is a fuel efficiency of 100 kilometers with less than 2 liters of gasoline. Yeah, the 542 features in all of our DM models. Yeah, all our hybrid models will feature the 542 initiative. Now, 2015, BYD went even further, because electrification is not just about buses, taxis and passenger cars. For the company, it's very important to find solutions of electrification for all forms of ground transportation. And the 7+4 strategy is exactly that. It is the development of all kinds of vehicles that are pure electric or either hybrid. Yeah, I'll give you more information about the 7+4 further inside. And then finally, in 2016, BYD ventured into the rail transit industry with the launch of a monorail system called the BYD Skyrail. The reason for this was mainly to tackle the growing problem of traffic congestion in Chinese cities, especially tiers 3 and 4 cities in China that are starting to face very serious problems with urban congestion. Yeah, so we came up with this new product to help tackle and incorporate this into our zero-emission energy ecosystem to make the city something that is smart, intelligent and clean. I will tell you more about the BYD Skyrail further inside as well. Now, if you come with me, we can go and continue our tour. It is fair to say that research and development is the lifeblood of BYD. Being a technology company, R&D are the most fundamental part of the business. BYD relies on a staff of 20,000 engineers in R&D. That is roughly 20% of the total staff. These 20,000 employees are divided into 5 main research institutes. We have the Central Research Institute, the Auto Engineering Research Institute, Electric Power, Truck and Special Vehicle, and Light Rail Transit Research Institutes. What is the reason for the company to invest so much resources into R&D? We aim at achieving vertical integration. What is vertical integration? Is the capacity a company has to produce all the key components of its products. So it is important for BYD. For example, we are the only ones, the only EV makers that produces its own batteries. Yeah, so somehow this is key for BYD. Not only the battery, but also the electric motors, the electronic controls, everything that is key in the production of an electric vehicle are produced in-house. This way, the company has a much better control over the quality and the advancement of its technology. Now, here we have a display of some of our battery technologies. On this side we have the nickel batteries that were the very first product that we started producing. This technology is gradually disappearing from the market and being replaced by more advanced solutions. But we still produce those. Currently we have 60% global market share for nickel rechargeable batteries. Right here we have our lithium-ion batteries, also for the electronics industry. As you can see, none of them is branded BYD. BYD does not brand anything in electronics. As I mentioned, we have 60% global market share for nickel batteries, and we have 25% global market share for lithium-ion batteries. That means that 1 in every 4 electronic devices bears a BYD battery. Yeah. Also, in electronics manufacturing services, EMS, BYD holds a 25% global market share with ODM and OEM services. Now, speaking a little bit about our iron phosphate batteries, the ones that are used for both our transportation, for our vehicles, and also for our energy storage systems, this technology, this chemistry is extremely effective. You have batteries that last for a long time. For example, we offer 12 years warranty for these batteries in the United States. And the batteries, after 10,000 charging cycles, still retain 70% of their capacity. That is, they outlive or they outlast the vehicles themselves. So the idea is that once they are no longer used in the vehicles, they can be repurposed for household uses, energy storage uses. Now, BYD EMS services with ODM and OEM covers every single aspect of the production of electronic devices. We go from microelectronics, or the very inside of the devices, to surface treatment, touch screens, LCD, everything that is involved in the production of electronic devices, BYD does itself. Here we have a few examples of electronic devices entirely produced by BYD. Here we begin BYD's zero-emission energy ecosystem concept. Because for the company it was sort of complicated to think that by producing EVs, you always come across people who will be detractors or naysayers about electrification. One of their arguments says that, okay, if you buy an electric vehicle, you will still need to burn coal and oil in order to produce this electricity. You will be merely dislocating the centers of emission somewhere else out of the city, but you would still be contributing with CO2 for global warming. So for the company, it was important to start researching some form of making sure that the energy charging our batteries is also clean. It does not damage the environment. It was a natural way to go for solar power or PV. So what are the two biggest problems of PV production? The first is price, the second is efficiency. So if you look at a country's energy mix, usually PV barely reaches 1%. Yeah, for these two very reasons. It's too costly and not effective enough. So BYD first entered the market with a conventional solar panel, following most specification of panels in general. We have here a cell with 3 or 4 bus bars. But then in 2015, BYD solved a lot more of these problems, by developing the module 2.0. Because with this module, we managed to increase efficiency and reduce the price. How did we achieve that? As you can see, the module eliminated the frame, to begin with. We are no longer using EVA as the basis of the cell. We're using silicon directly. And as for bus bars, we multiply the number of bus bars from 3 or 4 to 24. They are thinner and they cover a larger area of the cell. By doing this, we also managed to reduce in 50 to 70% the usage of silver paste in the making of the cell. That obviously will bring the cost down. So currently we have 18.5% efficiency for this module, and its lifetime is 50 years of usage. Now, it is impossible to talk about solar production without combining that with some form of energy storage. So BYD has quite a few solutions for energy storage. They go from large scale, large projects. If you have a solar farm, you would qualify for our containerized energy storage station, which is basically a regular container that is stacked full of battery modules plus the inverter. This is an incredible solution because it also renders energy mobile. You can effectively deliver energy. Other solutions we have include the Mini ES, which is a household use, is a residential use for our energy storage. This one comes with the inverter inside and it has different capacities as well. And finally, the B-Box, which is a stackable energy storage system that you can see each one of these is a battery module. You can stack them up to a certain height. If you reach the maximum height, you can have many stacks operating in parallel. So this grants you a lot of flexibility in terms of the needs of the user, the different capacities that a user needs. Now, I have mentioned the first step of the ecosystem, which is production. Just mentioned the second step of the ecosystem, which is storage. And now we're going to talk about the third and most important one, which is the usage. BYD has 2 businesses with a usage of renewable power. One of them is LED. We have a full production of LED products for residential, commercial, and public lighting. And we also use our LED technologies for our own vehicles, somehow following the concept of vertical integration. The 7+4 full market EV strategy. This is something that you see no one else doing on the market. BYD has developed vehicles for all forms of transportation, as I mentioned. Now, here we have the 7 standing for 7 conventional vehicles, but conventional would be something that we would say these are vehicles that run on road. They are passenger vehicle, taxi, bus, coach, urban logistics trucks, urban sanitation trucks, and urban construction trucks. Now, the 4 stands for 4 specialized vehicles, or vehicles that run off-road. These are vehicles for warehousing, ports, airports, and mining. Now, please mind that all these vehicles are pure electric vehicles except for passenger vehicles that we commercialize, hybrids as well. Now, the BYD Skyrail. It's very common for people to ask us, why is it that the company decided to venture into such a risky business once everything is going so well? We're doing well with our electronics, we're doing well with our vehicles, we're doing well with our new energy branch. Now, why is it that the company decided to go into such a big venture? Well, the explanation is first that the company sees that its sustainable development platform was lacking something that was more effective in terms of tackling urban traffic congestion. And it would be very good to integrate a solution for urban traffic congestion to our zero-emission energy ecosystem. The data is the following. In China, you have an increase in the number of vehicles, an annual increase in the number of vehicles of 15%, whereas the increase in road space is only 1%. So, you see that you are basically building roads for more congestion, and something had to be done, especially when it comes to tiers 3 and 4 cities in China, because these still have time to plan ahead and prevent becoming cities like Beijing or Shanghai that have hellish traffic congestions. So the idea was to remove traffic from ground level, of course. Now, it's natural to think that you might go underground. Yeah, it's what many cities do. But what about these tier 3 and 4 cities that don't have the budget nor the population for an underground system? We had to come up with a solution that involved technology and sensibility. So the idea was to go overhead, to elevate those rail systems. And we came up with the BYD Skyrail. Now, if we compare the advantages, of course, that you have large volumes traveling on the underground. The volume of people is smaller with the Skyrail, but when you think about first the cost and second the construction time, if you compare 1 kilometer of the BYD Skyrail with 1 kilometer of an underground line, we have 1/5 the cost of the underground for the Skyrail. Now, construction time is cut by 2/3. Yeah, so not only is it cheaper, but also quicker. Yeah, other advantages involve city planning. Now, for example, if you want to turn an underground line, you will need 300 to 500 meters to do that. With the BYD Skyrail, you need only 45 meters to turn. You also have a silent train composition, so that enables the lines to even go through buildings. And in city planning, this will involve much less demolition and reclamation work when it comes to building these lines. Now, if you come with me, now here we have a model of BYD's green city solution or smart city solution, in which we apply our zero emission energy ecosystem to an urban space. That would be basically bringing solar power production or PV closer to the centers of consumption, distributing energy storage stations throughout the urban area, and using this power with both our Skyrail. We currently have two types of Skyrail, Type A and Type C, and the 7+4 full market strategy with our trucks, vehicles, and all sorts of electrified transportation. This is the synthesis of BYD's dream of an ideal city. Now, this is the BYD E6, one of our star in electrified public transportation. Its main use is as a fleet car. It was designed and produced with that purpose. The first model to be launched had a driving range of 300 kilometers. Now the latest model has 400 kilometers driving range. Yeah, this vehicle is very successful as taxis in many cities worldwide, but also as fleet cars for commercial fleets, also very successful lately in car sharing initiatives. The vehicle, as you can see, is crossover sedan, pretty comfortable. You can feel free to explore, and we have two types of charging. Being a fleet car, you have the option of fast charging additionally to regular outlet charging. In fast charging, you can fully charge the battery from 0 to 100 in just under 2 hours for quick operation. Now, this is the BYD Dynasty series. The first vehicle to integrate the Dynasty series was the BYD Chin that was launched in late 2013. It is a dual mode vehicle. Now, this is the latest version. It is what we call the Chin 100, meaning that it has 100 kilometers on pure electric mode. The SUV Tang followed the Chin. It was launched in mid-2015, and it was the first vehicle, the first BYD DM vehicle to feature the 542 initiative that I mentioned to you before. Just recapping, 5 is an acceleration from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in less than 5 seconds. 4 is a 4-wheel permanent electric drive, and the 2 a fuel efficiency of 100 kilometers with less than 2 liters of gasoline. These two vehicles, the Chin and the Tang, were the ones that put BYD on the map of consumer EVs. Yeah, BYD as number one, it became number one mainly with the marketing of these two products. After the Tang came the Song. The Song was the second SUV launched in the Dynasty series. The Song also is the first one that is coming in 3 versions. It comes in gasoline version, dual mode version, and pure electric version. And finally, the Yuan, which is the third SUV launched in the Dynasty series. And just like the Song, we have 3 versions for this vehicle: gasoline, DM, and pure electric as well. I may say that this is the car that I have my eye on, yeah, and very soon it will be in my garage.